pair of Blue Jays are heating up as Alek Manoah is still trying to find his game. Hey everyone, welcome into another edition of Long Ball. Rob Wong joined alongside by Toronto Sun Blue Jays beat writer Rob Longley. And Rob, at the start of the season, it was a really tough go for Brandon Belt, striking out almost 40% of the time. But right now, he is one of the hottest bats in the Blue Jays lineup, and so is Daulton Varsho. They brought in some lefty bats in the offseason for a reason, and right now looks to be paying off.
Yeah, for sure, Rob. Obviously, the one of the main motivations of the offseason was to add some left-handed bats into the lineup, and the Blue Jays certainly felt that with both of these guys they would get production. But the way the first month and a bit of the season went, it wasn't turning out to be that way. And from observing them, it seemed to me like there was separate reasons for each of their struggles. In Belt's case, he was coming off of surgery and had a very slow and limited spring training, and basically had to work his way back into action, get his timing back, and that's something we've seen over the past couple of weeks. And I think with Varsho, he really is a young player. I think he sort of found moving to a new organization, moving to a new city and a new country was, well, not necessarily a challenge. It was a lot on his plate to start, and his early focus anyway, was on defense, and he's certainly added a really strong element to what is an outstanding Blue Jays outfield, and just kind of worked at his hitting and stayed patient with it and figured that it would come around, and it certainly did on that last road trip where he not only showed some ability to hit for average, but to hit for some power. And now all of a sudden, if you have these two bats producing at various spots in manager John Schneider's lineup, then that offense could be as prolific as many predicted it would be.
Meanwhile, on the other end, Alek Manoah still not looking like the guy that was a Cy Young finalist last year, Rob. The ERA now up to 4.83 on the season. The walks continue to be an issue. What is your level of concern with Manoah right now?
I think for a lot of ways right now it's fairly high, and that's not a reflection on the talent of Alek Manoah and Alek Manoah as a competitor, because he's very high in both of those categories. But I think it's incredibly difficult for a pitcher, especially, to snap out of things during a season. I mean, you pitch one day, you recover the next day, you throw lightly the following day, you have a bullpen session, and then it's time to pitch again. There's not a whole lot of opportunity to tinker out with things when things are going awry, and it's fairly obvious what isn't working for him. His slider doesn't have anywhere near the bite that it did last year when it was one of the best pitches in the American League. And that's allowing the opposing hitters to just sit and wait for a pitch, and they're doing so with great success. His velocity seems to be a little bit down as well, which is conspiring against him in other ways. And as a result, we're seeing a guy who pitched into the sixth inning in 29 of his 31 starts last season, but has done so only twice in his 8 starts this season. And I think that's, well, perhaps not alarming, because I do think that Manoah is such a hard worker and such a smart and competitive guy that he'll work through it. And we've seen him grind through starts where keeping his team in games. Like, he's not getting blown out, but he's nowhere near the ace many thought he would be, and the guy who was an all-star last year and third place in American League Cy Young Award voting. So level of concern, I think, at this point is significant.
Yeah, luckily still a long way to go for him to figure it out this regular season, but right now definitely going through it. As always, you can find Rob's Blue Jays coverage at the Toronto Sun or on Twitter at Longley Sun Sport.